What's good, Knicks Nation? It's your boy Wardy, not Richie. For those that don't know me, how's it going, everybody? It's your boy Tyler Ward here. You guys probably know me on YouTube at Wardy and Wham, where I cover the New York Mets for a living. However, I'm a big Knicks fan, and I've been collaborating on the channel here with Richie since the start of the season, and I'm here talking about Knicks news today. As yes, they have been linked to two Charlotte Hornets, that being now the new guy, Kyle Lowry, and yes, the guy that's been there already, and Gordon Hayward. We're going to get into this latest report here from Stephen Bonnie, which highlights both players as they are more of the Tom Thibodeau type players that we could see potentially acquired by the deadline, potentially not even via trade, but in a potential buyout. So I want to know your initial reactions, thoughts, comments, questions, and concerns, Knicks fans, to the news down below that yes, the Knicks are potentially connected to these players as they've been connected to literally everyone and their mother. It's absolutely ridiculous. But again, this is New York. When you're a big market team, let alone one having the amount of success the Knicks have had so far this season, naturally they're going to be connected to everyone as a big buyer leading up to the not NHL or MLB, the NBA trade deadline right around the corner. And if you guys haven't already, make sure you check out the video that came out earlier today from Richie himself, breaking down the latest rumors between the Knicks and yes, DeMar DeRozan. Check it out. Thank you all so much in advance. But of course, check it out after watching this one, because I got to let a couple things off my chest. All right. I see Kyle Lowry. I know that he is the Nova guy. That's where a lot of the connection comes from. We know that Tom Thibodeau really, really likes these type of players. But liking a player and bringing a player into New York are two different things. So let's get into the pros and the cons. What did this stem from? Well, we all saw the blockbuster trade earlier today. Terry Rozier, a guy that was a Knicks target to potentially be either in their starting five or as a sixth man to replace the IQ role, has now landed with a rival in the Miami Heat. The Heat are bolstering up for playoffs, as they should, and they parted ways with a grizzled vet, a guy that, again, Thibodeau likes a lot here, and Kyle Lowry. And Lowry's numbers with his shooting have been down for the most part this season. You know, he's only averaging around 8 points per game, still averaging over a steal per game, shooting from the field around 42.6%, from three around 38%. Again, not horrendous numbers from Lowry by any stretch. We know the legs aren't what they used to be. We know he's got the dumpy, if you know, you know. But the biggest thing that, of course, someone like Thibodeau likes about Lowry is when he's able to handle his own defensively and able to provide plenty of different offensive opportunities in the offensive zone. So there's appeal to him potentially as a six-man. However, I only like that idea pretty much, again, if you strike out on a lot of the six-man options currently out there, headlined by Malcolm Brogdon, headlined by the Joneses, for example, headlined potentially by, you know, not DeJounte Murray types, because those are bigger star level, but also even a Jordan Clarkson. You know, these are all six-man types that can get the job done. So as long as you're not giving up an arm and a leg for them, those are not guys I want to give up, say, Quentin Grimes for. If you're not doing that, by all means, sign me up. However, Kyle Lowry, what actually makes him a bit more appealing is not just the Nova connection. As we know, he's the grizzled vet between himself, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart. You got Ryan in there too. And you got, why am I blanking? Dante DiVincenzo, of course. You got all the Nova boys, and to bring in Lowry, he would be at the head of the helm among that group for sure. It'd basically be like their little president, their little leader in a way of the Nova boys. So that connection would be fun in itself. But unless you're getting Kyle Lowry truly at a price where it's strictly a buyout, I have very little interest in trading for him personally as a Knicks fan. I think most Knicks fans could probably agree, given there's a lot of great options currently out there in the trade market. The Terry Rozier types, raise your hand if you would have liked Terry Rozier potentially over a Kyle Lowry or Gordon Hayward. Everyone and their mother is saying that exact same thing for obvious reasons. Rozier is not only a shot creator, but he is someone that automatically would help bolster your offense for the season. That's what Miami got, and they parted ways with Lowry for a reason. And now that Lowry's on a team like Charlotte, there is rumblings that they, of course, would like to trade him away. But there's also a great possibility that they're not going to get a trade return to their liking, and he could be bought out. So if he is bought out, keep an eye on Kyle Lowry, as, again, he's very much a Tom Thibodeau type player. So even though he isn't the sexiest name, doesn't have the sexiest numbers at this point in his career, he could be just the type of role player that the Knicks need heading into postseason, as someone who has championship pedigree. He knows what it takes to win during his time, of course, in Toronto with that great run in 2019 or so. He is most certainly a player that would help not only bode well on the court, but also in that locker room. This is the type of leader that certainly wouldn't hurt the Knicks, but he's also not the type of guy that I want the Knicks to settle with solely when adding by the deadline. Now we look at another guy Certainly a guy that is known for his shot creation from three. Gordon Hayward, what has been Gordon Hayward's biggest issue throughout his career? It's been his health. We all know this. I feel like right now is how healthy is Gordon Hayward, right? You never know with someone like him at the young age of 33 to Kyle Lowry being 37. These are in many instances you could warrant as washed vets. And for those reasons alone, I don't love the idea of either of them. And I especially don't love the prospect of bringing in someone like Gordon Hayward. When we look at Hayward's stats in particular this season, again, they're not horrendous. He's hitting right around 14 and a half points per game, just under 5 rebounds per game, just under 5 assists. He's shooting 46.8 from the field. Really not bad numbers. And from three, 36%. Just to give you guys an idea, Quentin Grimes is currently shooting 37% from three. So not a drastic difference whatsoever. But for Hayward, while he might fit the Thibodeau mold and he's another grizzled vet that you don't hate, he's another situation that unless you're just getting him on a buyout where you're not giving up anything to get him, I have very little interest here, right? You're not trading Quentin Grimes for either of these guys. I'd make the argument that you probably shouldn't trade Quentin Grimes for any six-man role player to begin with, along with the plenty other guys the Knicks have been connected to. In my humble opinion, I think it is in the best interest of the Knicks to acquire one of these players if they are both bought out, for one. Two, you should not be going out of your way to trade for either of them unless they are truly the fit that Tom Thibodeau may believe them to be, which again is exactly why we're talking about them as potential Knicks fits today. But truthfully, I think what is in the best interest of the Knicks here is going after, again, one of those six-mans headlined by Malcolm Brogdon type. There's plenty of others out there. Richie just did a video on the channel the other day highlighting at least like 6 players that could be a fit for the Knicks that they have either reportedly or hypothetically been linked to this point. But keep Quentin Grimes is what I say, unless you go out and do trade for a DeMar DeRozan, a DeJounte Murray, a Donovan Mitchell type, unless you actually acquire a star-level player by the deadline, which might be wishful thinking at this point versus a more guaranteed six-man option. If that's the case, then okay, makes sense to trade away Grimes. Otherwise, make sure you hold on to him. I think that there's still a lot of potential with Quentin Grimes in the Knicks organization personally. I think a lot of fans feel the same exact way. But if you are going to trade him away, you might be better off holding on to him, seeing what life he can give you for the remainder of the season. Maybe an increased role, can step up in playoffs for all we know. Hopefully, finally, something that we didn't see much last year as he was dealing with that injury, which a lot of rumblings have also connected. Maybe Thibodeau has kind of had this vendetta, this feeling against Quentin Grimes in a slight way since last year's playoffs. To each their own in regards to that viewpoint. I'm not going to speak much more beyond that. That just seems like it's a little bit, maybe you're grasping at straws for that one. I could be wrong. I could be right. What I do know is that the Knicks will be adding by the deadline. But if they hold on to Quentin Grimes and maybe wait until the summer when a guy like a Donovan Mitchell, a DeJounte Murray becomes far more feasible to, say, acquire a star-level player along those lines, I think that makes a lot of sense for the Knicks. So for now, we know they're connected to everyone. This is Knicks fandom. This is another year of following the Knicks and understanding that the Knicks are also for clicks. So you're going to see everyone come out of their way to report on potential rumors. Some of them are very substantial where there's a lot of sense where Ian Bagley himself is reporting on it the rest of the way. And then you have others where it's like, okay, really shouldn't take this more with just a grain of salt, and that's okay. We'll still have this discussion. When evaluating these guys and Kyle Lowry and Gordon Hayward in particular, this, in my opinion, is just connecting the dots as two guys that we know Tom Thibodeau has liked a lot in the past. Doesn't necessarily mean he's a perfect fit for the team now, but again, if either, if not both of them are bought out here this NBA season, that is where we will be keeping an eye on both Hayward and Lowry alike. Otherwise, I really wouldn't buy into this too much because, again, the Miami Heat just did a trade exactly what the Knicks are trying to do. They want another shot creator younger that, of course, is vibrant, has more upside, maybe hasn't even hit his peak yet at playoff level. That certainly can be the argument here with someone like Terry Rozier. But in the case of Lowry, in the case of Hayward, you know what you're getting with them at their absolute best. But we also should keep in mind, going back to the OG trade, this has far more to do with team fit under Tom Thibodeau than it has to do with just the talent level itself. Terry Rozier might be a great fit for Miami, but for all we know, maybe he wouldn't have been a great fit for the Knicks, or maybe he would have been. But these are things you have to weigh and think about, not only as a front office, but a front office currently with a head coach that has a very stubborn structure in place. And when it's going right, it is fantastic. It is among the best here in the NBA. That is why OG, IQ, RJ has been such a win-win trade basically from the jump now. Can the Knicks pull off more win-win trades? We'll soon find out. But what we do know, again, is that they're not done adding this season, and they want to bring in guys that not only fit the Knicks philosophy, but the Tom Thibodeau philosophy, to bring in guys that, again, can get dirty in the corners if they need be. They can be great on their own defensive end. They're great in their transition game. They're fantastic, of course, in their offense and their shot creation. The selflessness that this Knicks offense currently has is why we love it so much. And defensively, they have been a true juggernaut since OG arrived here in New York with the Knicks. What is the next piece for them? What is the best fit? Is it a Malcolm Brogdon type? Is it more of actually shooting for the stars for DeJounte Murray? I want to know your thoughts down below. What player do you think makes most sense for the Knicks to acquire by the deadline, either through buyout or trade? What assets would you give up? And how do you feel if these guys are bought out on bringing in potentially one of, if not both of, Kyle Lowry and Gordon Hayward? Whatever your thoughts are, drop them down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and to stay tuned on all types of Knicks coverage all in season long. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button here at Knicks Media, where not only myself, but more so the bulk will be from our friend Richie here, who is the host of the Knicks Media channel, coming at you live. Post game, we're going to be doing some recaps playing throughout each game, whether they're pre-recorded videos or, live shows we do weekly on the channel. Whatever it is, it's all Knicks related, and we have you covered here on the channel. So thank you again so much, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Let's go Knicks, baby. Peace out.